and welcome back to Talk 30 to Me. How are we feeling, Courtney? It was our launch day yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who listened and sent us kind messages.
We've had so many kind messages.
Yeah,
we feel very overwhelmed. Thank you.
Overwhelmed with happiness.
Yes.
Not like the negative sense overwhelmed, but it was just so kind, and yeah, we really appreciate you all, and thanks for supporting. Here, two gals.
Yeah.
Just trying to make something of ourselves. We hope it wasn't too painful to listen to, and also apologies as this is quite a few episodes in that we're doing this, as we're block recording, I should say, quite a few before I go away. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for pushing through, and apologies that we say like so much.
Yeah, we do say like a lot.
I know.
We're expand
trying.
our vocabulary. It just comes out so naturally.
Yeah, you know what? It's our word. It's our word at the moment.
We just like, there you go.
There you go. Why not?
Just don't take a shot every time we say like.
Oh yeah, turn us into a drinking game. I love how Courtney said don't, but I'm like, do. Turn us into a drinking game every time we say like.
Yeah.
Like. There we go.
Yeah.
Now you're tipsy.
Wasted.
So what's your beverage of choice today?
Oh, I have a chai latte.
Nice. I feel like, I'm not going to lie, I feel like maybe we need to stop doing this, because I either get a hot chocolate or an iced chocolate. There's nothing else really. I mean, trying the Starbucks drinks was fun, but I'm here today with my hot chocolate because I feel like you're like way more exciting than me because you actually get different things.
Oh, honestly, I was going to get my usual, but I was like, I can't say the same thing for the 6th time in a row, so I'll just get a chai latte.
I think Patrice would actually be quite fine with that, you know?
Yeah, thanks, Patrice.
Because
she liked your coffee shops.
She liked your drink choice.
Oh, yeah, but thank you so much for all the support. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Did you watch... have you watched Morgan Adams' recent video? Her soft launch with Lucas.
So cute.
Cute.
I love Morgan.
I love her too. I'm like so happy for her. How cute is that though? Like,
but she said that they were going to move in together. He was going to be like a roommate, like a few vlogs back. But do you think they're going to... So I'm going to be looking for her little soap thing for him in her bathroom when she does her full like house tour.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy for her.
We're talking about Morgan Adams.
We're talking about Morgan Adams. She's a YouTuber. If you're a boy listening, maybe skip because you probably don't care.
Oh, she's so nice.
Yeah, but I love that, I was like,
so cute.
She was so cute. Also, side note, completely like off topic.
Love that.
What a queen is Vanessa Hudgens. I just want to say.
Vanessa Hudgens.
And also, I went in a real deep dive because I, went back to my roots.
Yeah.
And I was like, her music videos she did.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And remember when she launched her and Zac Efron that they were dating because he appeared in a music video.
Wow, what a
her
throwback.
Say Okay music video. And yeah, what a throwback. I'm sorry. I
love her.
felt the need to bring that up.
Oh, she was on Broadway too.
Yeah, she's so cool. She's just so lovely, and I listen to her on Jay Shetty because listen to everyone on Jay Shetty. But
I haven't listened to her on Jay Shetty.
She did it a couple years ago. She's super humble and nice, and just seems like
Did
a
she
real
just get
sweet
married?
girl. And she just got married. Stoked for her.
She got rid of Austin Butler.
Oh, I love him, but
They weren't. Yeah, is it his?
But they were a hot couple.
I just don't think he's attractive.
Really?
Yeah.
He's such a babe.
Me. He's not even in your realm of a type.
No, but he's he's so uniquely beautiful. He is a handsome man.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
But yeah, love Vanessa Hudgens.
Great.
Okay, so I have a story for Brittany about Mini B. Yesterday at daycare drop off. Okay, if you live in Auckland, you know it's been a little cooler recently. But
and by the time you listen to this podcast, it'll be winter.
Okay, but it's double digits. It's 15 degrees in the morning. Oh, the Aucklanders are brr, it's so cold. But it's warm. It's 15 degrees for God's sakes. It's just not 26, So I send Mini B off to daycare in his normal shirts and his shirt and his shorts, like I do every day. I check with him, hey, do you need a jumper? He's like, nah, it's too hot. And I'm like, yeah, baby, we are the same. So I get to daycare, and he goes to play outside like he does always. every day. And then the teacher was like, oh no, he needs a jumper. And I was like, fuck, like I don't have one because it's not cold. It's 15 degrees outside. Like it's not cold. But she's an Aucklander, so she's all rugged up, and all the other teachers are rugged up, and all the little kids are all rugged up. And Minnie B shows up in like a t-shirt and shorts. Wants to go out, he can't go out because he doesn't have a jumper, but I've got a rain jacket in his bag, so I'm like, I've got this, can I put it on him? She's like, yeah, and then he can go outside. Well, before I put it on, she's like, he heard us talking, he looks at me, smirks,
Oh no.
he looks at her, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, what's going to come out of this child's mouth? And her name's not Sarah, let's pretend her name's Sarah. So he looks at her and I was like, Sarah, I'm freezing.
Oh my god.
And like does
that little shit.
and does this fake shiver, and I was like, are you actually fucking kidding me right now? Like,
what
it
a
is
little
15
shit.
degrees, it's not cold. He's like, oh, so cold.
Oh my god, what a little shit.
Yeah,
What did she do? Did she know he was like putting it on? a
she's
little, or-
like, so you should probably bring a jumper tomorrow. I could not believe it. I was like, are you kidding? He has not been, like, it's not cold. He wasn't telling me he's cold. Like, he
Yeah.
feels warm. Like, he really isn't cold. And he's like, oh, I'm freezing. I was like, oh my God.
He was putting it on for sure. That's so funny.
I was so pissed.
That's
Like how does a 2.5-year-old, he wasn't even like asked anything. He was just listening to the conversation. I was like, I'm going to choose violence today. Like, what?
What a little fucker.
I could not believe it. And I was like, well, this makes a good pod story.
Oh my god.
So I was going to send him in a snowsuit today,
Oh my god.
but I didn't. I just sent him
Wait,
a
did that not
stupid
happen
jumper
today? That was yesterday.
yesterday.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
yeah, that's
God.
my story
That's so good.
of being attacked by my child at daycare drop-off yesterday.
So this week we thought it would be fun to tell you our weird dating stories. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
And then you can go. Okay.
Mine are kind of short ones.
I'm gonna fumble with this, but back in my single days, I was on Tinder, as most people were, swiping, doing whatever, match with someone, and was like talking to him for a bit. And I feel like I talked with like quite a few people, but I never really like couldn't really be bothered to meet. It was more, I wasn't really trying to meet anyone. I think it was more of like trying to get like a confidence boost. Because when you're a single gal, you want, it's like a confidence boost when a good looking guy matches with you. Although I found out in later years that from my guy friends that they just swipe yes to everyone. So that hurt my feelings a little bit. But anyway, I met up with this guy. We were getting along cool, and normally I like didn't want to meet up with people, but I was like, oh fuck it, like let's just meet up with him. Met up with him, and I met him for coffee because I was like, keep it cash, coffee date. We don't have to, a quick exit if one needs. It was going well, and he was really nice, but I feel like I probably immediately friend zoned him just because I'm like so used to being friends with guys. Before I even met up with him, because I got to know him, and we were just like chatting. I got to know that he like smoked weed, and I was smoking weed at the time, and and I was like, oh hey, like I actually needed some weed because my dealer was out of town, so I was like, oh hey, can you bring me some weed? And he was like, yeah, sure. So this isn't like a weird date story at all, because like most of my dates have been pretty all good. But this is probably more him being like, this is a weird date story, because this chick I'm meeting is asking me to bring her weed. Anyway, I got weed from him. It was very interesting weed.
It was laced.
He was like a really nice guy. But he was from like West Auckland. And a lot of weed from West Auckland was like super laced at the time. So went back to my flat. Me and my cousin, I was like, oh sweet, like got some weed. Wanna smoke it? So we're like, yeah, sure. So we went to the car because we were like, we were on a
Gotta
budget.
make the most of it.
We were on a budget, so we were like, smoking in the car, you get a little bit more high and use a little bit less weed. We smoked our normal amount in the car, and then we went back in the house, and then Sam was like, are you starting to feel like a little weird? And I was like, yeah, I am. And then we both started freaking out. It was basically synthetic weed, and we ended up just sitting on the couch holding hands, watching that 70s show to dry calm us down for like an hour or whatever. I forgot my cousin, he was like, oh, I feel like I can feel my heart like beating out of my chest, and I was like, same. And then yeah, that's when we just went and sat and watched that 70s show and held hands for about an hour until it came down.
That is so funny.
And I can't remember if I smoked the rest of that weed or gave it away, but that's my dating story.
So you didn't become you're a regular dealer?
Well, I actually went on another day with him again because he was really nice, to be fair. He wasn't trying to like lace me. I think that's just how they smoke it out west. And
Mum and Dad, if you're listening, hey.
hey. Yeah, so I actually went on another date with him, and yeah, we went out to Piha by Takari Rangers, episode 1. Watch out, because that was his kind of local ground. But yeah, we just like went to the beach, and it was really nice. We did like a waterfall walk, and went swimming, and just had like a fun day. But
I'm glad you weren't lady hunted.
Oh yeah, I mean he was so nice. He was like really lovely, and he was definitely keen. But I was like, sorry, not for
My
me.
dealer's back. We can go our ways now.
Well, I don't think I really wanted a boyfriend back then anyway.
You didn't. You just wanted to test the waters.
Yeah, I was just like, this is kind of fun, and just meeting new people.
That is a great story.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I'm ready to hear your stories now.
Have I told you these stories?
So I can have a little spazzy break and just spazzy away from the mic.
Okay.
No, you're all good.
These are 2 of the tame ones. I've had some more wild ones, but we won't get into those. So I was living in Canada, and it was the summer of 2018. What a sweet time. I was going on
Best year of my life.
I was going on.
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, seriously. I was going on quite a few dates with someone. He didn't live in town, but he'd like be out of town for a couple of weeks and then would come back into town, would hang out. It'd gone on for like a month or so. We went to the Canada Day fireworks in the downtown of the city that I lived in. And we were there, went to see the fireworks in the evening. Great day, great date, whatever. And the fireworks go off. And one thing I hate in life, well, there's many things, is crowds of people. So I was like, we have to watch the fireworks and then book it back to the car. We are not hanging around. Don't want to be stuck in the crowds. Don't want to be stuck
You're a country gal. You ain't a city gal.
Yeah, I just need out of being stuck around people. So we watch the fireworks, book it back to the car, and we see this guy lying down like by a tree. He was definitely bleeding out.
Yeah.
And we could hear sirens on the way, and there were like a couple of other people around. So we're like, okay, he's fine, like whatever. We walked past it, felt safe. So I'm like, okay, cool. We go back to the car. The next day on like the local newspaper, it was saying how a guy has died where we had just seen him.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace. But yeah, he died. He was dead.
Oh my God.
We walked past. So that was a time I saw a dead guy on a day.
Jesus Christ. That's heavy.
It's like funny. And then it was like, it was not funny. It was at like the main bus station. So yeah, I'd just like Snapchat him every time I passed the spot. I was like, oh, throwback Thursday to the time we saw a dead guy.
Oh my God.
So yeah, if you're listening, date, hi.
That's so freaky.
And then the other one was I was on Bumble.
Yes.
Like a year later.
Good old Bumble.
Bumble was like where I found most of my people.
Yeah, that's
I had my one-liner that I used. I just copy and pasted it.
Same.
What was yours?
What was mine? Oh my God, I probably can't say.
Oh.
If our parents are listening.
Oh, mine was just 3 fun facts about yourself, please. Anyway, so I was on Bumble, swiping away. There's this like guy, and he's kind of cute, I guess. Well, obviously, if we...
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're like, he'll do.
Yeah, honestly, did you find though when you were swiping away, it's like your standards start up here, right? And then you're swiping and you're like going through everyone, and then your standards like slowly drop like the more you swipe. You didn't find that? I found that.
No, I feel like on like a scale of really good looking to not good looking, I was starting like in the middle maybe.
Anyway, so we were swiping away, matched with this guy. We talk for like a couple of weeks. He lives out of town. And I'm like, okay, like this is kind of interesting. Like where he didn't like say a particular town close by that he lived in. He was just like, oh, like in this general area. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you know, there's lots of like country around, like countryside around. So maybe it's like in a tiny, tiny town that I won't know. So he's just not mentioning it. So we talked for a couple of weeks. We decide to go on a dinner date. He picks me up and he picks me up in this like truck, and it is filthy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like gross, but whatever. So I jump in. Also, don't do this, people, but I always had guys pick me up from home.
Yeah, that's dodgy.
Like 90% of the time. I lived in a massive apartment building, and I'd always tell them the apartment, and it had like 3 blocks of like apartments. So I'd always tell them the first one, even though I lived in the second one. Yeah. But still don't do that. Anyway, so he picked me up, and I was like, oh my God, this guy stinks. And he's just like filthy.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, and I was just
nothing
like,
worse than a smelly guy. Sorry,
so
guys.
gross.
There's nothing worse.
And I hugged him. I was like, oh. But anyway, so
that's an ick.
It really was. So we went on a date. We went to this restaurant like down the road from my house. It's the place that I always took dinner dates. So like the servers always knew I was just in my dating era.
Yeah.
And would just like
so
smile
we're like,
at
yes,
me.
queen.
Yeah. So he's just like stinks, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, okay. And so we have dinner, and he's like talking about like camping a lot, and I was like, yeah, like I'll camp, but I'm not gonna go bushwhacking.
Yeah.
You know. So he was telling me a lot about this, and was like, yeah, but would you be keen to like go on a hike and then just like camp out in the woods and like make a shelter and like blah blah blah? And I'm like, no. Like,
you're like, are you trying to murder me?
He's like, yeah, but we just like, I know which like leaves to pick to make sure it's like comfy to sleep on the ground, all this weird stuff. And I was like, this is getting really bizarre. So he goes to the bathroom, and this one of the servers comes up to me and is like, are you okay? She's like, I'm listening to this conversation, because I always got the same booth.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm listening to this conversation. It's bizarre. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's all good. So he
what
comes back.
What a lovely lady.
She was really nice.
Yep. Shout out to her.
Shout out
she's
to Sarah. That's her actual name.
Oh, shout out Sarah.
She was great. Anyway, so the bill comes, and he's like, are you gonna pay? And I was like, no.
He was hoping you were some feminist lord, like,
I don't mind
get the
splitting
bill.
a bill. And I don't mind paying for the full bill if we're like a few dates in, like, you know, and we like you do back and forth or whatever, or I'm fully happy to split the bill, but I wasn't paying for his food. And then we're leaving, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna walk home. I ain't going back in this car. And he's like, oh, I was just wondering, like, I have a load of washing. I was wondering if I could do it at your house.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, my washing machine and dryer are broken right now. He's like, you're lying. I was like, I'm not lying. But like,
just the fact he was like, you're lying, that's so rude.
It was so gross. He's like, yeah, but I just really need to do some washing. And then I was like putting 2 and 2 together. I was like, so where do you actually live? Like, just curious, because he said he'd driven like an hour and a half to like this day. He's like, it's the least you could do. It's like, let me do my washing. I'm like, I'm not having this guy come to my apartment. Did you give him a couple
coins to go to a laundromat?
No. I was like, I'm not having this guy know where my apartment is, come into my house, and I do not want to spend 1 extra minute with this human. Like, I am ready to like
leave,
shower, and never think about this again. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I just have this like a shed in the bush. He was homeless.
Oh
like,
my
God.
God.
That's why he stunk.
Ew.
He's like, yeah, I didn't have time to go to my friends to shower before, like, this week.
Oh.
I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that's the time I dated the homeless. I went on a date with a homeless person.
Yuckies, as my friend John would say.
It really makes seeing a dead body with one of my favorite dates not so bad at all.
Yeah, true. At least you didn't have to
and apart from
talk to the dead guy.
Yeah. And apart from the dead guy, it was a great day.
Yeah.
Honestly, we saw him, we got in the car, we were singing Backstreet Boys on the way home, and didn't think about it again until the next day when we realized he was dead.
They are very weird dating stories.
Yeah, so anyway, they're my dating stories.
Cool. Okay, so we thought this week on a Real Talk, we would talk about what we think are the
signs of a toxic
relationship. I completely botched that. Both of us have been in toxic relationships, so I feel like we are
exposing us.
Well, we have.
Yeah. Many.
Yeah, just one really long one, but I feel like we are veterans. We kind of know what we're talking about.
We do.
But also these are just
from our experience,
subjective thoughts and opinions. So
yes.
Don't feel attacked if you do any of these things, or maybe
do some inward looking.
Maybe do some inward looking. So Do you want to go first?
Wait,
or-
can I just tell you? I was like, Jonathan, like, this is what our topic is tomorrow. And I was like, what do you think some signs of a toxic relationship are? He's like, I don't know, whatever the fuck we're doing. It's not, just so you guys know, but it was just funny.
That's just Jonathan. That's just his sense of humour.
I
Fucking
was
hell,
just
that's
like,
so
you know
good.
what? Like, fair.
I love that. I love that.
So the first one's probably being homeless. I'm just kidding. I have just like bullet points.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lack of respect and constant conflict.
Yes.
Respect is so important.
Yeah.
Competitiveness and jealousy.
Yeah, that was one of my main ones. If you're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Because also with competitiveness, it's fun to have like banter. It's fun to be competitive.
Yeah.
But it gets to like, it can very quickly get to a point that's very unhealthy.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like competitiveness when you're like playing a game or whatever.
No.
It's like oh, this person's doing this with their life. I'm gonna try like one up them.
Yeah.
Like you're
Constantly.
your partner's constantly trying to one up you.
Also, if they silence you
Yep.
or you feel that you're shrinking yourself.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of what's it called when they like, it's not manipulate you, gaslight you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly know that term, but I know that feeling like the back of my hand.
Yeah, I think gaslighting is definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. It's making you feel like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Or it's like you'll tell a story and they're like, that's not what happened.
I just want to say on behalf of like the other people who like the girl or whatever the guy, whoever is like thinks they're being gaslighted but they're actually not, because
Yeah.
they're actually the crazy one. I just want to say like,
Oh, yeah.
there's also the opposite side where the girl or the guy or whoever is thinks they're being gaslighted, like they also might need to check. But that's the tricky thing about gaslighting, is you don't actually know. That's what's so fucked up about it, about people who do use that against the people.
So
anyway,
annoying. If you can't be your full self around somebody.
yep.
Well, that kind of goes into my last one of having to like shrink yourself.
Yeah, but as well at the start of relationships, like, God, it took me like years to fully open up. So
Yeah, but if you
Also-
don't feel like you can be yourself, you're changing your likes to fit in with someone else.
exactly.
You're changing yourself.
Yep.
And then if you're having to sacrifice your happiness
Yes,
for anyone, and
Yep.
then yeah, that's basically it. I would
I think
say.
they're all valid points.
Okay, another one: financial and social control.
Yeah. If your partner doesn't let you go out and hang out with your friends by yourself, or just let you do things by yourself in general, like you're in a toxic relationship. If you're one of those people that feel like, oh, I really like don't want my partner to go and do these things without me because I'm missing out, or I think you just need to realize it's incredibly healthy to let your partner go and do things on their own and have their own life in a way as well
that.
as you, because if anything ever happens and you're both each other's whole world, then like you're kind of fucked if anything happens, or you're making it so much harder for yourselves.
One that's come up recently that I wasn't excuse me, that I wasn't really aware of was financial control as well. That is like a huge one as well. Like if you're a stay-at-home parent, for example,
Yeah.
and then someone's bringing in all of the income, they're not giving you like your own money, that you're constantly having to justify where every single cent is going.
Yeah.
Because every person needs to be, even if you're a stay-at-home parent or whatever the situation, everyone needs to have their own, like a little bit of their own money as well. It's like
I
part
totally
of an
agree.
escape plan.
I hear that from like 50, 60-year-olds who have like been recently divorced, and they're like, I'm fucked because
I have nothing.
because I have nothing, and the guy, you know, and they were stay-at-home mums their whole lives, and then the guy was like, oh, I'm leaving you, and
I'm good to
I'm
go.
taking all of my money because everything is mine because I've paid for it for the last blah 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 years while you've been
that's so
stay-at-home mum
messed
not
up.
working. So definitely always have your own bank account with like some money in it that you,
Yeah, like even if
no
one
matter
person
how in
is
love you are.
yeah, even if one person's bringing home money, it's still important, because then it's like you can buy gifts, or like you can do your own savings for your own things that
Totally.
you want. But yeah, financial control is something I wasn't really like aware of the concept of until fairly recently, when I've gone down a rabbit hole about it.
Yeah.
Not because I'm in that situation.
Yeah, I was
where
like,
I stay at home.
are you
mum,
okay?
but-
Blink twice.
I'm good, but yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah. So I've got someone who tries to control or change you. That's kind of, I feel like that's like a pretty obvious one, but like it can be done subtly. Like I think if anyone's trying to control you or, you know, or making you feel bad for not doing a certain thing, like I think people get confused sometimes because they want like a love to have all this drama and stuff, but I don't necessarily think that's a healthy love. A healthy love can sometimes come across as boring if you're used to toxic relationships. And I think being in a toxic relationship, you're like expect like there has to be drama all the time. It's like, oh, you're not doing this, you have to like be fighting at least once a week or whatever, like, you know, like things like that. And I think having a relationship where there's always something going on, because it's kind of like an adrenaline, right?
I hate that.
People get hyped up, and they also, because the movies think it's meant to be like, oh my god, so dramatic all the time, and it's like, no, how a healthy love is like, god, it's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about another time. But yeah, I think someone who tries to control or change you, or you know, if for an example, if you're like, oh, I want to go home and the other person wants to stay, just let them stay, you know, or god, I can think of like so many other situations.
But also, it's not like right away a really big thing. Usually people test out the waters to see how much that they can get away with before it becomes like a really big thing. You know, it starts off small and then it just starts to snowball.
Yeah, so
until
it's hard
you're like,
to know.
yeah, until you're like deep in it, and then you're like, shoot, like what the heck has just happened? Like,
Yeah.
I'm deep in it now.
But
you know?
like trust your instincts as well. If anyone is, you know, restricting you from doing things, that happened to me in a past relationship, and yeah, I wasn't allowed to do anything that made me happy at the end of the day, but it was such like a subtle,
it was a slow progression.
it was a slow progression
Yeah.
that I like didn't really notice until one day I was like, actually it was until I got out of it, I look back, I'm like, wow, that was fucked. Envious or jealousy, like someone who like accuses you of cheating with like no evidence at all, or just like is constantly searching for that drama. Maybe, you know, they've been cheated on in the past, and they're bringing that into a new relationship. That happens, I think, more than people know. That's why it's really important to look after yourself, and if you come out from a toxic relationship, to really work on yourself so you don't bring those issues into a new relationship. But yeah, I think toxic relationship is someone who is constantly worried that the other person's going to be cheating, and then for that person they like then get restricted because they don't want to upset their partner. So something like that, I would say, is a toxic relationship. I don't think that's like I think there's a way out of that, you know. I think the person who might have been cheated on needs to like work on their self and work through their issues separately, but they can still be with the person. They just have to work through the issues separately.
Or if you just feel like you're always walking on eggshells around someone.
Exactly.
That's the most awful feeling, when you feel like you can't say your piece or just say anything, or you're just constantly like not sure. Also, sorry, I'm just going off now.
No, go off.
If you're like
Go
waking
off,
up in
girl.
the morning and you don't know like what kind of person you're waking up to, you know, if someone that changes temper really quickly.
Someone who's overly critical, so someone
Oh yeah.
someone who's just like, yeah, really like, oh, you should do this, or oh, I don't really like, hey, you know, just like them being overly critical, I feel like in a way is them trying to change you slowly but very subtly, because they're like, you know, they clearly don't like you just as you. I mean, there's a difference being like, put your clothes in the bloody laundry, because god, that's it, you know, that's not a toxic relationship, that's just annoyance. But but you know, like being overly critical about like really important things in your life,
Or about like your appearance.
or about your appearance as well.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Someone who is dishonest to you. So just straight up being dishonest. Some people are just, they have it just built in them. They just have to lie. No matter what, even if the truth is staring them blank in the face. Like I've had that where someone, I'm like, I'm literally showing you evidence of stuff and you're still denying it. Like it's right in front of you. Like you just cannot, they just like have to lie. And it's like, Yeah, so someone who's like dishonest to you, because then that obviously ruins your trust with them. Being dishonest like a couple times, like that can kind of be justified sometimes, but if they're constantly lying about such like even small things, they are just like that and they're never going to change.
Yeah.
I feel
Agreed.
like that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And
That's a good one.
yeah, last thing is if you feel insecure because of things that they've said or ways that they've like made you feel, I think that's the sign of a toxic relationship if they're like saying things. There is a difference between you feeling insecure from maybe a past relationship or just your own insecurity. But if they are really making you feel insecure because there's something they've said specifically, maybe if they're
like triggers you.
Yeah, that triggers you. I feel like that's toxic, but also it's definitely worth just letting them know as well. If that's
Your
the
feelings
case.
are so valid as well.
Your feelings are super valid.
Like, don't let them either make you feel like if you bring up issues to make it feel like, oh, that's your insecurities, because it might be, but it also might not be.
And we're also, if anyone thinks they might be in a toxic relationship or aren't sure, feel free to email us and we can just
tell us your story. We can talk about it.
Yeah, tell us your story and we can talk about it. And and you have a situation you want to ask us about, just send us an email.
Yeah.
Now, for our crime segment, have you heard of the Skyrim TikToker?
No, and I love TikTok, so I'm very surprised this hasn't popped up for
So
me.
I had my good friend Finn tell me about this. So there's this guy called Jin Kid. I won't say his real name. And he was basically a famous Skyrim TikToker. And he made like so many like popular videos on TikTok related to like Skyrim. And
Skyrim's a video game?
yes,
Okay.
sorry. And just assuming everyone's living in my world, he was arrested and charged with murdering 2 people, including his wife. The police were called into his apartment in the East Village, where they discovered the bodies of 2 people, his wife and her friend, Rayburn. It's believed that Anna and Rayburn had been having an affair and that they had been in the process of ending their marriage. And this TikToker had been stalking her for like a couple of months.
Jesus.
And late last week, he not only vandalized their apartment in a luxury complex, but also installed an app on his daughter's iPad that allowed him to monitor activity in the apartment. It's alleged that after Ali had heard his wife with another man, he visited the apartment, found Baron there, and shot him 3 times in the head and neck before also firing 1 bullet into his wife's forehead. Video footage from a neighbouring apartment reportedly shows Ali leaving the building directly afterwards. He then picked his 5-year-old daughter up from school, who was with him in the car when he was taken into custody shortly afterwards. So that's kind of fucked up. And he almost had like 1 million followers on TikTok, and he's like super scary looking. This is what he looks like on Skyrim.
It's not
He's just like,
as scary as I thought it would be.
yeah, I mean, it's just more like drama.
Toxic relationships, people.
Toxic relationship 101. Super fucked up.
Another like current event that just happened like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Do you watch Sister Wives?
No.
Or have you heard of Sister Wives?
I've heard of it.
One of the kids committed suicide.
Oh, that's so sad.
And it's so sad.
That's
and
awful.
I know, and it just happened like a couple of days ago, and his brother, who's one of like the most empathetic, sensitive people in the family, found him.
Oh
like,
my God,
he's
that's
never
so
going to recover
sad.
from that.
That's so sad.
Oh, so sad.
Oh,
I found out last night.
that's
I was
horrible.
like, oh, that's awful.
Oh. Okay, so to wrap up our pod, we're doing top 5 random facts about ourselves. Shall I go first?
Yes, please.
Okay, so random facts. These are probably going to be boring, so I'm going to skip through them real quick. My fave food is pizza, and that's not a random fact. That's just quite well known amongst my friends. So, my birthday is on Halloween, which is my favorite time of year. Not because it's my birthday, just because I love all things spooky. I broke my collarbone by falling out of bed when I was 5. And it was not a bunk bed. It was a single bed, just FYI. So that's kind of funny. I'm passionate about climate change and protecting the environment.
Aw.
So I only actually came up with 4. I just realized.
I came up with one for myself, but I'll just make some other ones up.
Okay.
Okay. I was born on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
So Friday the 13th and a Halloween baby in this household.
We're spooky.
Spooky. I lived in Idaho one time.
Yep.
Haven't talked about that yet.
No.
I've lived in 9 different places.
Yep. You were a little jet setter.
little jet setter, and I got nothing else.
That's fine. We clearly don't like talking about ourselves.
I was going to say we should have come up with the things for each other.
Yeah, that would have been
I
better.
feel like I'm the most boring person to ever exist, but I feel like Brittany's like so cool and like has so many like fun things
That's
about
so
it.
nice. But no, I don't. There we go. I mean, we totally could
We're
have picked a
simple
different
gals.
one. We're simple gals. What's
say
your
we're
favorite
single
food?
girls?
What's your we're not single gals. What's your favorite food then? That can be another one.
It changes. It depends on
What
the
do you
vibe.
really like at the moment?
Sushi.
Sushi. Okay, sushi it is. Heard it here first. You've always quite liked sushi though.
Yeah. What's your favorite food? Charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board. Well, thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast.
Yes,
We're really
thank
happy
you.
to be here, and we hope you're happy to be here with us. We would love for you to follow our show, download our podcast, and follow us on socials, and rate our podcast too if you
it's
want.
5 stars.
Only if it's 5 stars.
Okay.
We will
Message
accept-
us if it's anything below.
Yeah, if you have any qualms, message us please, and we'll try and make some changes.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.